Monkey Under the Bench production presents Big Girl Raid, Wheat in Barn, Mutter to Flame, Moth to Fire. I don't know. Mutter, expression of dissatisfaction. Expression of dissatisfaction. Monkey Under the Bench, early edition of Monkey Under the Bench. I'm EvaEdna. I have a good day. 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 Early edition. Again, Monkey, Key to the Municipal. Monkey Under the Bench production presents Big Girl Raid, Rugged, Antitrust, Iron Out. Oh, D. Turkey. I don't know what I was thinking. What was I thinking? I was thinking the acronym for RAID. And I chose Turkey. T for Turkey. So it's not RAID. I need to figure out the acronym for D. Maybe donkey instead of turkey. I wanted to keep the key. Key to the municipal. Key to men. Early edition. Real quick. Isaiah chapter 1 was helpful with getting me started on this early edition of Monkey. Monkey Under the Bench production presents Big Girl. Big Girl. We deal with those difficult issues. We have to be a big girl about it. Big girl. Key to the municipal community. Early edition, molestation. I want to start off before I start my tour. Early edition of Monkey Under the Bench production presents Big Girl. Big Girl, Raid, Wheat in Barn. Okay. Molestation. Molestation. Let's talk about molestation. When the molestation doesn't seem to stop. Child molestation. Physical molestation. Intangible molestation. And we have to move forward. Move forward. Molestation doesn't stop until it comes to the open end is shut. And the open end also is shut on the molester. Now, the molesters who are in denial of child molestation, they still have salvation. Now, when they have repented from molesting, because a child molester doesn't really admit to molesting the child. A child molested grows up and encounter other children being molested. So the molester doesn't stop. Not per se that particular child molester that molested that particular child. The mind of molesting, the act of molesting continues on, tangible and intangible. Now, a child molester that has been accused of child molestation and is now grown up in the denial and has developed powers, has developed financial power, has developed intelligence, has developed himself or herself, and find himself cornered to protect whatever they have built outside of this small problem of child molestation. What do they do? their level of trust, their level of reliability. They have this reputation to protect. But there's that one loose end in the past. Maybe the guilt, the shame is tugging at them because perhaps now they're saved and sanctified and they're at the foot of the cross and they have to leave everything there and they have to leave the child molested and how the child is doing now that was molested at the foot of the cross. And the child molested is saved and sanctified and have to expect and accept that when that child molester is at the foot of the cross, the in-between, the reliance on Jesus Christ to bridge that gap is everything. However, the complicated honesty of that child molester that comes into power and has the capability of influencing. When I get angry, when you get angry of how unfair it was to be placed in a helpless decision making because you were overpowered, and to be influenced and to be robbed of that chance of feeling the anger and feeling how unfair it is because now my life, I'm an older woman, I'm struggling financially, my mental faculty is not where I want it to be right now. The pressures of life around me, I can't help but to consider the hurts, the traumas that may have brought me to this place. But faith in God, Hosea, God instructed, go and have a child in whoredom, the glory of God that reaches even to what is sneered upon or what is frowned upon, what seems to be so rugged in life. Monkey Under the Bench production presents a big girl raid, rugged antitrust. Iron out. We're going to leave the turkey there. Cold turkey, quick stuff, cold turkey. We don't want to be a big turkey, a vulture turkey. Be a turkey in a situation. I still have to figure out what the D is because it's raid. I'm not changing it to rate. Raid, wheat and barn. But we grow up, but the molestation doesn't stop. Doesn't stop. From generation to generation is a different way of molesting children. What's child molestation? Preventing or disrupting the natural growing up of a child. Pushing a child in adult concerns or adult events too early. A child who is forced to burden adult situations when they should be burdening themselves with child's play and doing what children does. Yeah, I have help and I'm still going to continue on. In Hosea chapter 1, verse 7, but I will have mercy upon the house of Judah and will save them by the Lord their God, and will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, nor by horses, nor by horsemen. Complete reliance on God. We know God working out something, but we don't know how God is working it out for both parties involved. We don't get frightened. We don't get feared. We face what we have to face because that's what big girls does. Big girls. It's rugged. It's hard. But we got to push through it. The good days and bad days. But we get through it. And I have this early edition. I know I went 3 minutes. I'll splice it up if I have to. But the molestation that with power, when molesters has the power to overpower, and it seems like we're helpless. So we have to make room to anticipate more molestations. But for those of us that has come to terms with it, it's a I forgive, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive. It still happened. We don't know why, but we know the devil is in the details, and that's warm and fuzzy excuse. But knowing what I know now, can't undo it. There's some strength that we draw from traumas in life. And it takes real suffering for us to really see the strength available in some of our traumatic events in life. It didn't kill us, we're still here. Accept. We forgive. We don't make room for it to happen again. And we don't compromise and get complacent in complicated honesty. And be prone to blind eye. And of course, some of us, I'm not going to lie, we crutch on that thing. We take it as a crutch sometimes. But when that crutch start to break, because now they have capability of influencing. If you're angry, all of a sudden you start to cry. You have the external energized strange that try to influence how you respond to even your own right to brood and throw tantrum about those hurtful things, those traumatic things in life. Okay. But I still have a right to be angry at that child molester. I still have a right to be angry at that rapist. I still have a right to cry if I feel like it. We deal with trauma and hurtful events in different ways. Is this an advance to how we respond to emotional disturbances or psychological breaks or responses to traumatic events like rape and molestation? Advance that we have this energized strange out there that is able to reroute or influence, depends on what energy is connecting to you. Because you notice since I started this video, my voice has shifted, and not only did my voice shift, my energy, the emotion, because it's sensual. It's a sensual, energized strange. And if you're not focused, you have to be focused in the discernment, the spirit of discernment of spirit, to discern, so you don't get pulled into that external, energized strange that's trying to come and dwell within. Something that is false, that is trying to dwell within. So, we don't know how God, like Isaiah chapter 1 verse 7 says, God said, I will have mercy and I will save them. But he wasn't specific on how he was going to do it. Sometimes, like now, Monkey Under the Bench production presents Big Girl Raid. Wheat, bread, barley, wheat in barn. Mutter to the flame. Expression of dissatisfaction. We have our right to express our dissatisfaction, however we choose, however God chooses to heal us. Mutter to the flame, moth to the fire. I think this was mutter to the flame for me. For Monkey Under the Bench, a production for Monday's show, I want to end it and conclude it with mutter to the flame, or I flew too close to the fire and I got burned, or I survived flying too close, teetering on that controversial, or I don't know, because sometimes we don't know. This energized strange, I don't know, and I don't want to figure it out, but I know everything is in God's expected end. God knows the beginning and God knows the ending, and God knows exactly how much He prepared us to burden in this life as it get rugged sometimes. I have to work out the acronym for RAID. I can't believe I put T, turkey, instead of G. Maybe it's for donkey. I don't know. I don't want to, particularly because I mentioned municipal, get political. I'm going to put donkey. So I say raid, but turkey.